In the history of the human race, there have been three principal falls: that of Adam, that of Judas, and that of the Pope. The principal characteristic of falling into sin is always the same: wanting to be good for one's own sake, wanting to be perfect for one's own sake, wanting to be God for one's own sake. In this manner, however, man unconsciously equates himself to the devil, because the devil also wanted to become God for his own sake, to put himself in the place of God. And in this self-elevation he instantly became devil, completely separated from God, and always in opposition to him. Therefore, the essence of sin, of every sin, consists of this arrogant self-aggrandizement. This is the very essence of the devil himself, of Satan. It is nothing other than one's wanting to remain within one's own being, wanting nothing within oneself other than oneself. The entire devil is found here, in the desire to exclude God, in the desire to always be by himself, to always belong only to himself, to be entirely within himself and always for himself, to be forever hermetically sealed in opposition to God, and everything that belongs to God. And what is this? It is egotism and self-love embraced in all eternity, that is to say, it is hell. For that is essentially what the humanist is: entirely within himself, by himself, for himself, always spitefully closed in opposition to God. Here lies every humanism, every hominism. The culmination of such satanically oriented humanism is the desire to become good for the sake of evil, to become God for the sake of the devil. It proceeds from the promise of the devil to our forefathers in paradise, that with his help, they would become as gods, Genesis 3 verse 5. Man was created with the anthropic potential by God who loves mankind, so that he might voluntarily direct himself, through God, toward becoming Godman, based on the divinity of his nature. Man, however, with his free will sought sinlessness through sin, sought God through the devil. And assuredly, following this road he would have become identical with the devil, had not God interceded in his immeasurable love of mankind, and in his great mercy. By becoming man, God-man, he redirected man towards the God-man. He introduced him to the church, which is his body, to the reward, ascesis of theosis, through the holy mysteries and the blessed virtues. And in this manner, he gave man the strength to become a perfect man, in the measure of the fullness of Christ, Ephesians 4 verse 13, to achieve, that is, the divine destiny, to voluntarily become Godman by grace. The fall of the Pope is a consequence of the desire to substitute man for the Godman. In the kingdom of humanism the place of the Godman had been usurped by the vicarious Christi, and the Godman has thus been exiled to heaven. This surely results in a peculiar deincarnation of Christ the Godman, does it not? Through the dogma of infallibility, the Pope usurped for himself, that is for man, the entire jurisdiction and all the prerogatives which belong only to the Lord God-man. He effectively proclaimed himself as the Church, the Papal Church, and he has become in her the be-all and end-all, the self-proclaimed ruler of everything. In this way the dogma of the infallibility of the Pope has been elevated to the central dogma of the papacy. And the Pope cannot deny this in any way as long as he remains Pope of a humanistic papacy.